I finally got the call. Let's go. Back at the studio, and yeah, I got the call. Such a nice box. I've been hunting for this watch like a madman for close to 3 years now, 2 of which were actually wasted years, but I'll get to that in a bit. So I finally got my GRAIL watch, and I don't call all the watches that I want a GRAIL. I don't know why some people do that. So what I picked up is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak reference 15450 with the blue dial. Just want to know, I actually got this watch a few months back, but I didn't make the video because I didn't know how I should film it. I'm still not sure how this video would turn out, but I just want to share my journey on obtaining this piece and what I've learned. So this isn't a review. So I bought this watch at retail from the AP boutique, and it was incredibly difficult to do so due to the popularity surrounding this model. Definitely not as much as the larger versions, but people are definitely starting to catch on to the smaller 37mm size. Of course, the blue dial is even harder to get. Maybe because the 37 wears like a 40, the bracelet flares out of the case. All I know is the 37 is definitely my sweet spot. Man, I'm still over the moon. Now, I've always liked the Royal Oak's design, but it was only available in either 41 or 39mm, which was way too large for me. Those were like a 42 and 44, so that suppressed my immediate desire to hunt one down. But it all changed when the 37mm version came out. There was a boutique nearby, so I would visit maybe every 3 months to just show that I'm serious about this piece and I'm definitely a buyer. I would also send periodic emails just to let them know that I'm alive. Regardless, it was the worst boutique I've ever visited. The short story is, every time I went to visit, my information was never found in the system, despite submitting it multiple times on different occasions. They probably took down my information and threw it out every single time I left. I was also given an appointment date by a sales rep, and on the day that I show up, I was told by the security guard that it's the sales rep's day off. The sales rep was the one who set the date and time, but he set it on a day that he doesn't even go to work. Basically, throughout the span of 2 years, I was being toyed around with by the staff at that particular AP boutique. The professional way to have handled it was to just tell me from the beginning that they aren't taking any interest for the model that I'm interested in, opposed to playing some games with me. Anyways, at that point, I kind of gave up on getting the piece, and the thought left my mind because they were the only AP boutique within a reachable distance. It didn't help that AP no longer have ADs, and they only use boutiques now to sell their watches. Now, around this time last year, I was doing some holiday shopping and I stumbled across a new boutique that had just opened. It was so new that it wasn't even registered on the AP website. So my desire to get this watch was rekindled. So on that day, I expressed my interest, and a little less than a year later, my sales rep called me to come pick up the 37mm Royal Oak with the blue dial. Now, I'm not saying this just because I got a watch from that boutique, but the staff there, they were just so helpful and responsive to everything that I had to ask or request. It was unbelievable. Why this Royal Oak is my GRAIL watch is because the proportions fit me perfectly, the design is incredible, and the finishing is just mind-blowing. Those are the 3 factors that I always consider whenever I'm looking into buying a watch. And this one happened to check all of those boxes. The design is unmistakably AP, obviously because it's all they have. But what I love is the way this watch feels as a whole. Oftentimes, a watch's bracelet and case seem like 2 components that make up a single entity. Maybe I feel this way because I build so many watches, but to me, the Royal Oak doesn't give off this feeling because it as a whole feels like a single component. In other words, integrated, and this truly feels like an integrated system because removing the bracelet from the case feels no different than if the dial was removed from the movement. Everything flows and complements each other in a way that nothing feels individualized. An easy way to see this would be the Lange & Son Odysseus it just feels like the bracelet was forced onto the design. So even though it is integrated, it doesn't feel like one because it just doesn't feel natural. Next would be the finishing. It's up there among the best I've handled when it comes to both movement and case/bracelet. Plenty of brands make incredible finished movements, but they usually come in a case or bracelet that doesn't give off the same wow factor. In the Royal Oak's case, the sharp looking yet beveled edges to the uniformity of its brush surfaces, the seamless transition from one link to another, and further integration onto the case just makes it so easy to understand the number of man hours that go into making this watch. I think this bracelet alone takes something like 10 hours to finish. And speaking of the bracelet, there's actually a few clips online from AP showing watchmakers working on the Royal Oak, like the bracelet finishing and the recasing. Although I would have personally filmed it differently, it's always super cool to see a brand's watchmakers actually producing the watches that they sell. Kind of like what I do on the channel when I show custom watches being built. So after this video, I'm probably going to be called an AP fanboy, but that's okay because I am an AP fanboy. This is my favorite brand, and even though they only have one real selling model, I think that's all they need because some brands don't even have that. So like I said earlier, this isn't a review. I just wanted to document this moment on my channel and grab a few shots of the Royal Oak. I do plan on making videos on the watches that I own because a lot of you guys seem to be curious. I completely revamped my collection, but the thing is they all live at the bank, so the only watch I have on person is on my wrist. It's a lot safer that way, so bear with me, I'll get through them one by one eventually. So that's about it. I picked up my GRAIL watch, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak reference 15450 ST with the blue dial, and I can't take this off my wrist. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Do follow me on Instagram at loom_shot, and I will see you guys in the next video.